Hey folks, it's Janek Gwizdala. It's the Janek Gwizdala podcast. The verdict is in. I've managed to test the new bass. I've got some feedback on it, some stuff I've been talking to RKM about. I'm going to get to all of that in this episode of the podcast. I've also made copious notes ahead of time so I can let you know right here in the first few seconds exactly what is coming up and, why you should maybe stick around and get some questions answered. I've had a ton of questions and comments, especially since last week's episode, especially about this bass, but that sort of bled over into other areas of my scene. We are going to be looking at kind of a general overview of like my gear and why I use it. I think there seems to be a few misconceptions behind that, so I hope to clear a few things up in terms of that today. The new book is up and running. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about some terrifying purchases I've had to make or am continuing to make as a result of it. I'll explain all of that. It's all good, but it doesn't make it any less terrifying. I'm going to explain more. I'm going to talk about shipping costs of the book because that's been a massive thing. Like people are like, hey man, I live in, Australia or Singapore, somewhere really far from where I live. I live here. I live in X. Why is the shipping as much as the cost of the book to buy a signed copy through your website? I'm going to fully explain that and really break down the cost of the entire thing to explain that. And there is a positive outcome for everyone involved because there's an option to get it for basically no shipping. But we'll get to that. We're going to talk a little bit about signature basses because this video last week, the last episode of the podcast, brought up a ton of questions about that, what they are, what it involves, my take on it, even though I've tried to be as transparent and as clear about it as possible. There still seem to be questions. So I'm going to answer some of those questions. We're going to dive into the comments of last week's episode and take a look at a few of them. We're going to talk about the color of the bass, the balancing as I put it up on my left knee here to show you. I've had some questions about, hey, how do you balance the bass on your left knee? It's classical guitar style. It's not exactly a classical guitar with the thickness of the body, though. How do you get it when there's no support or not that traditional classical guitar support from the chest? We're going to talk about all of that. And a last little aside is I'm going to pick up some pieces off my desk here. There's a spring and a washer and a nut and let's see if I can and I'm dropping them. Let's see if I can show you these things. That's a little spring. There's a button from a pedal. Here is said pedal without the button on it. It's my beloved Chase Bliss Audio Dark World, and it was the, as you can see right here, the victim of some rather rough baggage handling. Despite the fact that I have my Pelican case, but my pedal board in the Pelican case, something I've used for years and years and never had a problem. Starting to have some issues with that, so maybe right at the end of the episode we'll get to what I'm planning on going to next with that. So it's a lot to get through. We're going to get to all of it. Now you know what's coming. Sit back, relax. Remember that it is Monday, December 2nd, 2024. It is Cyber Monday. If you're in some far-flung corner of the world and you haven't heard of that, you're wondering what the hell that is. That's an American way of saying, hey, there's a bunch of stuff you could buy for perhaps not the price you're used to paying for it. It's an add-on, a modern add-on to the Black Friday thing. I've been running, like most other small businesses in the world have been running some sort of sale this week. That Black Friday sale is still running through Wednesday at midnight. Has basically 48 hours more to go, and added into that is our Cyber Monday deal, which is all the HX Stomp preset packs, the individual ones and the complete bundle. They're all 35% off. Everything is linked below in the description of the video or wherever you're listening to this in the show notes. 35% off all the HX Stomp presets. All the ebooks and ebook bundles on the store are buy one, get one 50% off, up to 4 products in the order. So you could get 4 books and then you could get another 4 at 50% off. The complete library, if you are really, if you're at that point, I want to get into some serious practice and I want to fill my routine with ideas and never feel like I'm running out of it, you can literally buy every single book I've written. It's a lot, 20, something like this, a lot of books, it's a lot of material in one product, in one download, and that is discounted really heavily right now as the complete library. So that's on Black Friday discount. All the things are automatic. You don't have to do anything. There's no promo codes or anything. It's all added at checkout. If there's a discount, the discount will be there at the checkout. No need to email us and say, well, where's the promo code? Because we've had a lot of those. I know I'm missing something, but let's see. No, the new book is out. I guess I should talk to anyone who hasn't received their download code from the pre-order, the download link. We did send them out on November 28th, so please check your junk, spam, inboxes. Those links, unfortunately, by the time you hear this, will have expired if you didn't get to it in time, but just send us an email and someone will take care of you with a fresh link. But those did go out on time on Thursday, on the 28th of November. We are... Yeah, I guess one of the most scary purchases of the year for me is when you have a successful pre-sale. That's one of the things I talked about in the table of contents here for this episode. A scary, terrifying purchase is when you do pretty well in the pre-sale. We sold a lot of copies. You have to hit the buy button on the units eventually, and that was a big number in terms of. A single purchase. Haven't made one of those in a very, very long time. Maybe the last time I bought a car, for instance. It was pretty crazy. So those physical copies are on the way to us, to me, to my house here, so I can sign them all and get them out to you. They're estimated to be delivered around the 14th of December. So I'm as soon as they arrive, I'm like putting life aside to sign hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of copies of these books and ship them up and get them out to you. So they will be there to you before Christmas. And now the book is out. It's available for purchase everywhere. It's at Amazon. We should probably talk about that. That kind of leads really nicely into the shipping costs thing. Don't worry. Bass nerds, I'm getting to the bass in just a minute. But the shipping cost of the book, I get a lot of questions about that. Hey, the book is X and, shipping is also X if I'm overseas and I live in a far-flung corner of the world. Yeah, I'm afraid it is. It's an unfortunate part of doing business in the US and having to ship products overseas. The shipping is just really expensive. That is why, like I just said, we have it available on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you're probably paying zero shipping and it's getting to you in a day or 2 days, something really efficient. Even if you don't have Amazon Prime, the shipping is vastly cheaper because it's being produced and generally produced and shipped to you from your own country. So in terms of the markup, like this book is so big, it's 371 pages. It's by far the largest volume we've ever done. And the production cost alone on that is $7.31. Then I need one of these guys, these padded mailers to send it out to you. That's another, it depends. Sometimes we get a deal on some of these. We got them for 55 cents a unit. Sometimes they're 80 cents a unit. We try and buy in bulk, so it brings the cost down. But it basically bumps up the price to $8 just for the book, the raw production cost of the book, and the shipping materials. Then in order to sign them, I have to get them shipped from Amazon, from the production, from the warehouse or whatever, to me. So I pay shipping on that and I pay tax on top of that. So just to give you an idea, the shipping alone to get the pre-order set of books, the shipping alone was $360 just to have the books shipped to my house, and there was almost $700 in tax. So you're looking at like an extra $1,000 overall on the cost. It was spread over several hundred books, of course, but it all adds up. So all of that to say, it is an unfortunate situation, and I wish I could charge less for shipping than I do, and I actually undercharge. The crazy thing is, you're all going to go like, are you fucking kidding me? I actually undercharge for shipping on most of the long distance things, especially if somebody gets more than one book and the weight goes up. I actually lose money on the shipping thing. It costs me way more to ship the thing than people are paying. But I also have like a moral compass, and I look at the number and think, holy shit, I would never pay that. And I would rather the book, I took a little less profit on the book and the book actually went to someone to be of use. I'm by no means saying I'm like a charity here, but there is a moral cutoff point where I simply I can't charge so much for shipping. So yeah, we do a bulk of our business here in the US where we can use media mail, and I can offer a much lower shipping price, somewhere in the $5 to $6 range, plus materials, and then overseas it is unfortunate that sometimes I lose a little bit of money on that, and even more unfortunate that it is that much more expensive for people to get the signed copy of the book. Again, They're on Amazon. They won't be signed, although if I come and play a show near you, let's bring it to the show and I'll sign it. So there are ways to do it for every budget. And then, of course, there's the digital version at the website, which you can get right away. It's slightly cheaper than the physical book, and it's a download, and you can have it immediately with all the same notes. We didn't change the book at all between physical and digital. So there you go. That's the little breakdown of why that is. I'm sure this won't be the last time I have to explain it, but hopefully the more I explain it, the more people get to hear this and kind of understand where I'm coming from. And if anyone's out there as a small business owner, then I'm sure you're sitting there going, yep, I know how that is. And eventually it would be nice to be able to produce the books in other places, maybe have them shipped for tours and stuff locally, so it brings the cost down for everyone. But that's for the future. Let's talk about the verdict being in on several things, several elements of the bass. I got to play it on a gig. I've had it a week now, and there are, obviously things come up. I was testing it. I was figuring out the sound, the preamp, the controls. I unfortunately wish I'd been on a gig where it wasn't so hectic, where I wasn't reading like Chick Corea 3 quartets and Brecker Brothers, African Skies, and like crazy salsa music that I haven't played in years and years and years, and am not as familiar with as perhaps I should have been. So it was kind of chaotic and perhaps not the best situation to road test an instrument on to get the best amount of data and feedback. But I got data and feedback nonetheless, and was able to make a few kind of informed decisions about what I would like to see out of the final production model of this instrument. Now, one of the things that came up, actually, am I going to get all those comments up? There are fucking hundreds of them on last week's episode. I guess I'll grab them just in case I run out of steam, or I know there are things I'm missing. But one of the things that came up was like, well, Gwizdala, what a great. It's more the person than the instrument. Like I can sound, like me, no matter what instrument I play. Yeah, there is definitely some truth to that. But the fact that came up, and the fact that the word signature instrument came up was pretty telling about how maybe I haven't been so transparent with this process and what this is all about. This is absolutely not meant to be a replacement for the bass you see me playing all the time, for the Matheson that I play on albums and I play on the road and all of that stuff. It's not that. It wasn't meant to be a copy, but with a solid color and a cheaper production or something. It was meant to be, and it is not meant to be. It absolutely is an experiment. This double reverse P thing, something I obviously came to try out with this blue bass that you've seen before, the 4-string. So then it was just a question of like, I like using that instrument for certain things. Again, it's not right for everything, for my music and for what I do as a bass player in my career, but I love using it for certain things. And I think the 4-string translated well for instructional videos specifically and for YouTube. And this was an experiment to see if we could put the same double reverse P thing in a 5-string with a high C. Yes, something a little more suited to some of the music I play, but again, not a replacement for the Matheson, just something different. It's been very interesting in the week or 10 days that I've had the bass in my hands, that recording stuff for the Mystery to Me, the vinyl 20th anniversary edition. I'm re-recording the bass on that album, and there was one track where none of the basses that I own, Fenders, Goyas, Mathesons, what else do I have in here? I have a Mayones. I have a bunch of different basses, even this 4-string RKM, none of them felt like the right bass. And then I got into this. I was like, let me just throw that on just to practice to. I wasn't even thinking about recording. And I started to get into it. I was like, I like the fat front P, this sound. And it was in this register, and you're going to hear it on the album. And I was experimenting with opening the tone up and closing it, and it just felt super balanced for exactly what I wanted in that moment. So it's not like a 10 out of 10 use case bass in my world, in how I exist, but it's like a super useful and very usable sound, especially in the studio, I'm finding out. And on the gig was great as well. Actually, I favored more the front set of pickups. I didn't go for that more jazz sound, that more back pickup Jacko thing. I actually favored the front set of Ps. Because I was playing that kind of music. I was playing some Cuban music, and it felt great in the pocket, fat, punchy, right up the middle. So in terms of the experiment that this bass has been and continues to be, I think Operation Success. Is it the bass I'm going to play 10 out of 10 times on every single song, every single tour, every single session? No, absolutely not. Maybe none of my basses are actually that. And that kind of gets us to the whole signature thing. And this is not a signature instrument. It's just me collaborating with a company to do a very limited run of something. Probably this is the moment where, if you haven't already commented angrily on the video saying, well, you're just doing it for the money, this is probably where we bring up the money. I can, with a completely clear conscience here, Monday, December 2nd, I'm holding a prototype in my hand. I have talked about money literally 0 times with RKM. Yes, there is an understanding that with this short run of 10 basses, there will be some sort of very small percentage commission to me for the instrument sold. At the price point, which I think you'll quite enjoy at the end of the day for a bass of this quality, and the low percentage number of that commission, you'll be able to see that it's not retirement money. I'm not doing it for the money, as I see so many times in comments and in feedback and in emails. I was pretty aggressive this last week. I got a bunch of emails. That's not normal for me, I would say. A lot of people were really felt the need to hammer it home and get in my inbox and say, wow, kind of angry, which was that was interesting. But here it is. I'm learning from it, and if nothing else, it's given me something to talk about in this episode and to further explain and sort of solidify my position and sort of be open and transparent about that. So yeah, I've talked 0 about money with RKM about this. So it's not for the money. It's more than anything else. It's for the excitement of the experiment, I don't think anyone's trying to get rich or retire from selling 10 basses. Maybe, let's even see if we sell 10 basses. And I'll tell you the extent of the conversation so far here in December of 2024 is that we will do one drop of 10 basses in one color. Color's a big issue. We're going to get to that in a second. And we have left it open to maybe, and there's a maybe with a capital M, do another drop 9-10 months after the first one, maybe a year, who knows, of another 10 basses, same thing in a different color. That's it. That is the extent of our plans, shall we say. And yeah, it's not something that's kind of going into production that will be evergreen. It was never meant to be that. And it's just exciting to get as a player, as someone who's constantly looking. And what was that? I saw I got an email about, I'm not going to call anyone out by name or anything, screenshot the email, but I got an email, some paraphrasing, but somewhere, something to the effect of, there was a gripe about moving from Aguilar to Ampeg and from Federa to Mattison. And that gripe was, well, you just always moving, always, what the fuck kind of thing. Again, hey, you just keep moving on for the money, which is so bizarre to me. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy that I have to keep talking about this to address those questions and comments as well. But yeah, whatever. It's good that something positive can come out of it, and a restatement of the facts, and hopefully people learn exactly what goes on behind the scenes of these kind of things, because I don't think too many people talk about it. I don't think I see people talking about it in an honest and openly financial way. Although most recently, I don't know if you've seen this thing, JHS Pedals, Josh Scott over there at JHS Pedals with the whole Ross pedals thing, and it was a very interesting back and forth, a real kind of exposing of what is actually happening behind the scenes, and that people aren't getting rich and making millions of dollars, and there are overheads and there is insurance and production costs and this and shipping and handling and staff and salaries and health insurance, like all these things. Like, you know, people throw out these crazy numbers and these crazy ideas of, oh, this person sold, you know, say this bass, it's not going to go for $10,000, but say this bass cost $10,000 and we sold 10 of them, and it'd be very easy. Wow, there's $100,000 floating around there. A lot of people don't even think about the basic materials that go into producing something. They just fixate on the big number that they've multiplied and done the, you know, the napkin, like tape, you know, napkin maths on. And and if Gwizdala's making 10%, wow, that's 10 grand in his pocket. Like, those numbers are extravagant and inflated for simplicity's sake. But that's kind of what I guess happened with Josh Scott with the JHS thing, with the Ross pedals, and kind of happens in general. And people don't understand like what's going into that, like actual production costs and taxes and shipping and handling and, you know, employees and insurance, all those things that Josh talked about. It just hammered home to me, seeing that in a very eloquently put video. Maybe I'll try and link to that video below so you can check it out. And just copy and paste anyone else who you know, like a Federa or an F-Bass or a MXR or any other company. You know, maybe not such a huge one like Yamaha or a big corporation, because those are slightly different, but any sort of, you know, JHS is not exactly one person in a room, maybe like Three Leaf Audio is, but they're also not a corporation, you know. And yes, they have, I don't think he said close to 40 employees, maybe. Still not a small operation. It's not a global corporation like a Yamaha or something, or a Fender, but it's interesting. Like, you can start to get a very realistic idea of how it all works. And for me, you know, really to maybe now to get away from the money and all the bullshit and the politics and that stuff, for me, the only focus and the only reason I ever move, the only reason I can ever make a move, regardless of if there are other factors, and I'll talk about those in a minute, especially with the amp thing, not that long ago, the only way I can make a move is if it's music first, if it's a musically based situation. That's it. Like, the thing has to sound, feel, be right, be good, be the thing that I need to express what I'm hearing as a musician. So, yeah, referencing the amp thing, there were other factors besides music that went into me questioning my the point in the journey I was at with Aguilar after so many years, after a decade or more, 12 years or however long I'd been with them. You know, there was that thing of everyone I started with at that company was all gone. So the vision had changed and they got bought by Korg, and there were just other factors involved that made me start to question, oh, this might not be the right fit for me anymore, even though the gear obviously is great. And, you know, that's not a question. You don't see like 4,000 one-star Yelp reviews for Aguilar. It's solid gear. Like this, that's not the question, you know. But in order to go somewhere else, it had to be a very musical decision. And until the venture stuff came out with Ampeg, it wasn't my style. It's not like Ampeg sucks. Ampeg is fucking amazing. There's a reason it's been at the top of bass amps for decades and decades, and is maybe one of, if not the oldest company for bass amps. Don't quote me on that, but it's definitely up there. As we all know, it's a legacy brand. They didn't quite have the flavor I was looking for musically until the venture stuff came out. So when that happened, it made very good musical sense to take all the factors and make a quite tough decision at the end of the day, but ultimately move to Ampeg after 12 years with another company. So it wasn't like I'd been with Aguilar 18 months and was like, all right, peace out, guys, you know. And when I went to Ampeg, I wasn't saying, hey, listen, motherfuckers, like, I need like 25 clinics a year, and, you know, I need a stipend every month to make a certain amount of video. Like, literally $0 change hands. You know, and for the rest of my time with Ampeg, $0 will change hands. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Like, how important it is for people to know that. Like, there is no money involved. Yeah, I get some amps. You know, I have one sitting right here, the V3 and the 210. I've made a video about it. I think it's the for me anyway, and maybe if you have a similar size space and similar needs, I think it's one of the most perfect practice amps I've ever had. I think it's awesome. I think the DI sounds amazing out the back, and you can record with it with supreme confidence. It's clean, it's fat, it's great, okay? And then because I live in a house on 3 levels, so I don't have to schlep the amps up and down flights of stairs to go to a gig, I have one more rig in the garage. That's it. I have a 410 and a V7. So what's changed hands is a V7, a V3, a 210, and a 410. Not exactly something that even if I wanted to sell would make me a lot of money. And of course, that's not the point, is it? It's the fact that this isn't a financial transaction. This is very much a musical thing. Music first and everything else later. And yes, part of me endorsing the product, in return, I get support when I go out and play music. Literally talking to Mike Stern's manager this morning. I've got to go up to Yoshi's in Oakland next week after. So about 2 weeks from now, we play Yoshi's. By the way, 2 nights at Yoshi's, 16th, 17th of December with Mike Stern, Dennis Chambers. That'll be a fun one. We're playing here in Los Angeles, so I can take my own rig, but yeah, send it over. And okay, the club doesn't have exactly my rig, and maybe they don't want to pay the extra from the rental company, but then Ampeg can help out, and maybe there's a rig there and we pay the cartage, and it all works out. So in that sense, yes, I get some support when I'm on the road in return for endorsing the product, but with no expectation of, you got to make at least 5 videos a year or this, that, and the other. Absolutely not. So yeah, hopefully that clears that up, clarifies that, like why those moves are made. And I can't stress how difficult they are actually to make. It's like not a fun thing to do at all, you know. And yeah, like emotionally speaking, like the actual mechanics of making the change, the music side, it makes up for everything, of course, you know. And yeah, and I find myself here at this moment having this experiment with RKM that I'm digging and has found some use already in the first week. And let's talk about the verdict, the tweaks, the things I want to perhaps adjust before this becomes a final production model. First thing is I would like to put the output jack on the front of the instrument. I'm really used to that, and that was one of my things that I sent over on the list of potential changes. They were totally cool about that. I would like to put a string retainer up here. Can I get that in the camera shot? I would like to put a string retainer that has 3 slots, not 2, so that I can get the A string in there. Or, you know, I tend to do like quick string changes, and I clip the strings pretty short. People out there going to be, you shouldn't do that, whatever. That's what I do. And when you don't have a lot of string to wind around the post, it doesn't bring the level of the string down as much as I would like. So even though it's fine, like that A string sounds fantastic, I would like a string retainer so there's a little bit more room for user error on my part. So we're going to put a 3-channel, I don't know what you call it, 3-channel string retainer on there. Here's the big one. Here's the one that you should get in the comments about the color. A bunch of people were like, I dig the color. I think I saw one comment that it looked like, oh shit, I don't know. It wasn't a particularly pleasant comment. I wish I could remember it. It was actually quite a funny one. But now I've just looked, and there were like over 200 comments on that video. I'm not about to trawl all of them. Just looking for that one comment. So let me know about the color. The other option is a bit of a darker blue, which I kind of dig. This is way more on the gray side, as you can tell. And the walls in my studio here have a little more blue in them, and I quite dig that color. I don't know whether that keeps with changing things to the black hardware, so it would be all black on the body. It's a tough question, you know. We're trying to commit to one design for these 10 instruments. The other thing is that came up is like that this one, because I've played it so much, this blue, this much lighter blue, could well be the move. Maybe not with the relic situation going on. Maybe I really dig the solid color of this and the gloss finish. Maybe we go with the lighter blue. So what say you, bass players of the world? Do you like this gray that it's already in? How about we go with the blue that my other RKM is in, or somewhere in between where it's a slightly darker blue, I've decided that I want it to be non-relic, and I like the gloss finish on it. It makes it something very different from anything else I own or play. So yeah, get in the comments and let me know. I'd be really interested to hear your feedback. And then, of course, all the combinations of what works best. Is it going to be black hardware? Will we keep the silver hardware? I don't know. Those are all little details to work out at the very last minute. I dig the preamp. I haven't gone in and adjusted any of the dip switches yet. Just haven't had the time. But I will experiment with that. But in terms of just getting sounds out of it, I'm really quite digging and getting more comfortable with where everything is. This is the middle position. This is rear position. Back to the middle. And here's the front. I've got the mid and the treble like straight up the middle. I've got the bass boosted just a hair. And no tone on any of those. Let's run those sounds again. So back pickup, center position. Oh no, that was the front. Sorry, my bad. Reset. This is the back pickup. Jesus. Now center, front. Now do the whole thing again, but dialing in a little bit of tone. It's back with some tone, middle position. It's got a little bit of poke now, and then on the front. And these are new strings, so they've got a little bit brighter than normal. You know, I haven't tried it with flats yet. There are a bunch of things I could try that would make it more P-like, I would say. But I think the takeaway is that it's been more of that P sound, and I've been more attracted to that side of things and blending that side in, with a little bit of the jazz sound, with a little bit of the mid kind of back pickup thing. But really, what's been nice has been more the P sound. And kind of just cool to have that option, that other flavor in the collection. I know there are a lot of comments about, 18 months ago you were selling all your basses because you needed the space and blah blah blah. And now what the fuck? It's crazy. Like you guys not have you have way too much time on your hands. First of all, some of you, not all of you, of course, but the people who write those comments are like, God damn. I mean, I appreciate you paying attention and following the story and, listening to the SBL podcast where I talked about the signature bass thing and. I mean, are you guys going to lose your mind when I show up with a new Matheson in a few months, and inevitably love it and inevitably, as with this, make music with it and just enjoy the insanely privileged position I find myself in to get to experience all these sounds? That's all it is. It's not about money. It's not about anything else. It's about just, okay, I've got this opportunity and I'm really going to enjoy it and make the most amount of music I possibly can. And just to have the option to get inspired to play something in a way that you didn't think about before, that never occurred to you, is that's incredible, and I wish that for everyone out there. And I hope to bring you, more information about that and my story as it all develops. And that, there are other basses coming, so get ready. Don't don't get preemptively pissed off. Hopefully you'll enjoy the music as it comes. So here, a few technical things about my gear and why I use it. And let's get to the bass on the left knee. Doesn't matter what instrument it is, and generally speaking, they're all kind of similar in thickness. I don't need the strap to balance it, although when I'm playing live, I always have one on. That's the other thing. Sorry, I'm just thinking about it as I play more up the range. It's really balanced. I think that's what I like about it. Not that my other basses aren't, but I just thought, that's cool that it is that, that it plays great everywhere on the neck. That's always something, even if you get like 20 of the same instruments, some necks play great, some don't, this, that, and the other. There are always subtle differences. So my hope is that the prototype here, obviously it plays great and sounds good. It is balanced all over the neck. The next one that comes out, serial number 000, before we do the run of 10 for the public, like the final, the finished production model, hopefully plays exactly the same. That will be great information, great feedback, and will hopefully show that, RKM are consistent in their builds. So pretty excited about that. So yeah, the bass on the left knee, it's really, I do have my foot up. You see my knee there? I'm wearing black, so it's harder to see in the camera, but my foot is up on some sort of footstool. I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm using an old hard drive, this old hard drive enclosure, which is just the perfect height, and I just have it under my desk. So yeah, it's perfect height. There's no strain on my left shoulder. I guess I'm clasping, for want of a better word, the instrument a little bit on my fretting hand, just above the wrist on the body, kind of where it naturally sits anyway. And there's very little pressure on the left hand. It's all economy of movement, on my picking hand rather. And I use very much economy of motion everywhere. So that kind of lightens up the whole situation, I think. And then, yeah, of course, if you have a bass that's like neck heavy and like neck dives like that, it's gonna be a drag. But because my left knee is up high enough and I can sit, if you're watching here, like this part of the back of the body, I can sit that into my right leg as I'm right-handed, and it balances pretty well. Like my hands are completely off it right now. The bass isn't going anywhere, and that's the same kind of no matter what instrument. Like here's the blue one, here's the 4-string, for instance, the RKM is the same no matter which instrument I pick up. Just to prove that, let's grab my main bass, same thing. And that's like you can see with the Matheson, it's a completely different build. It's actually a little bit of a different balance, but still my seating position and my technique in that sense, my posture is such that it's fine. It just sits there, even with a single cut, slightly bigger, different shaped body, different scale length, all of those factors sits there perfectly. Really, yeah. So that's a technique thing that's developed over time, and that's how I do it. There were a bunch of questions about that recently. People are asking a lot about my chair. You can see it sitting in the background there, black and white chair. Don't get it, by the way. It's by a company called Emerge. And the reason I'm sitting here on a drum throne today is because the little hydraulic piston in the bottom of it just died. I just collapsed me all the way down to the bottom and wouldn't go back up again. So I was like, okay. It was one of those impulse buys in a Staples, like a stationary, office supply store here in America. It was on like crazy sale. I was like, for that price, can't really go wrong. It's lasted me a year and change, maybe a year and a half. I actually don't remember. You'd have to go back through the YouTube videos and see when it started popping up. It was fine. What I liked about it was that the arms came up, which is essential for practicing. A chair with arms, disaster for practicing bass. So that was what it was. Now I will probably do what I should have done years ago and invest in a real chair, like a Herman Miller and Eames chair or something really serious, not just for practicing, but for my back and for posture and for lumbar support and all of that kind of stuff. Like actually spend some money on something that's going to last me 30 years rather than keep spending a few $100 and it just falls apart after 18 months. So that's that. That is my non-recommendation of what to get. So many people ask me about this bass strap. These are from Ergo straps, right? Shit, do I have the name right? Yes, I do. And they gave me... They gave me 2 at a NAMM show years and years ago. I can't remember how long it is I've been using this strap. They're beautifully made. They gave me this one as well, which you rarely ever see me using on a bass, because they're just similar, and I just tend to use the same strap with the strap locks and just stick with that and move it from bass to bass. But they are beautiful. They're padded. They're really comfortable. And this one's so worn in. It's really nice and soft. It's like your favorite sweater or something to wear. So that's what I use. That's why I use them. They're awesome. It was totally random. I just met them at a NAMM show, and they handed me two of them and said, hey, you want to check these out? And I've been checking them out for many years ever since. I've got a ton of them here. What is this? Oh, I got one from my friend David from the Slap store in Chile. Another nice leather strap. Boom. Great store in Santiago as well. I got one with my F-Bass when I bought an F-Bass a few years ago from Marcel and George and the guys up there in Canada. And I purchased myself some time ago, and these are like super worn in as well. I did use these for a while. I purchased these ones from the Martin Guitar Company, which are beautiful leather straps. They're a little narrower. They served a purpose at the time, and once I get my, maybe the bass is hung on the wall or something, I'll throw one of these on some of the other basses that I don't play so much, just so there's one on there at all times. But that's it. Yeah, I always get asked about straps. No doubt I'll have to tell people again at some point. And the very last thing is about the Pelican case. Really bummed out that the Dark World got beat up, especially as they recently announced, I think, that they're discontinuing this pedal. So I have to get that one serviced, repaired somehow. I don't know. It's like broken, which is not great. So I don't know the mechanics of these pedals. So that is something on the to-do list. And I'm going to go with a larger Pelican case, but without making the board any bigger. I've just got to get more padding in there. The bummer with that is that the 1510 I use now, the Pelican 1510, is basically a carry-on size. So if I feel like I have a short connection and the pedals might get delayed, I switch from checking them, which is what I do almost all of the time. I switch from checking to carry-on, just because the pedals are the most important thing to me. The bass is whatever. I can switch that. I can find a bass pretty easily and get through a gig, but finding my pedal setup and my sound is basically impossible when I arrive in a new city. It'd have to be like a very specific city, and I have a very specific friend who has all the same pedals as me, and even then it'd just be a pain in the ass. So that's going to be the only bummer, is the traveling thing with a larger Pelican case but with the same size board. We're going to suffer a little bit more risk. Risk profile is going to be different in terms of stuff getting delayed on the road, but we'll try and learn to live with it. And I'm doing more to program the HX Stomp as much as I can, so I can travel maybe with a pedal board checked and an emergency HX Stomp just in case. So I'm kind of close to my sound that I can have in my carry-on. So that's it. That's a lot of information. We do need your comments, especially on the color of the bass. Imagine that. It's like this incredible amount of design and work and artistry and craftsmanship goes into an instrument like that. And at the end of the day, the hardest thing to figure out is fucking color. So let us know. I think those are the three viable options. It's the gray that it currently is. It's potentially the blue, the lighter blue that the other RKM, the 4-string I have, is without the relic, just solid gloss, or maybe a darker blue, and then black or chrome hardware. Big questions. We need your help. Get in the comments below. Don't forget Cyber Monday, Black Friday running through Wednesday night at midnight. That's about another 48 hours. All of those discounts are linked below the HX Stomp presets, the complete library, the ebook bundles, buy one, get 50% off all ebooks and all ebook bundles. It's all up there. Appreciate you guys and girls of the bass world sticking around, spending some of your insanely precious time with me, talking about music, nerding out over basses, going behind the scenes of how it all works, and at least how it all works for me and how I approach it. Hopefully some of that information helps you navigate your own journey as well, and see you all on the next one.